Damn, got spoiled for my score.
Yeah, apologies. Hello and welcome to Play Talk Repeat. I'm Oliver and I'm joined by Lewis and Alex.
Hello.
So today we are reviewing Donkey Kong Bonanza. A little bit about the game first of all. It was developed and published by Nintendo, released exclusively for the Switch 2 on July 17th, and it is a platformer slash action adventure. We're going to start with some opening statements. We're going to start with Lewis, is what we're going to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going to start with Lewis.
Yeah. So my opening statements for do I give the score? Usually the opening
You,
statement.
you
Yeah.
usually do, you?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. I gave Donkey Kong Bonanza an 8 out of 10. I didn't love the game as much as everyone else has been loving it, or at least as much as the internet has been praising it. I think the game has a lot of issues in terms of the gameplay loop. And I think it can get really repetitive and just kind of monotonous, if I'm being honest. The game isn't bad by any means. I just don't think it's this masterpiece that people are making it out to be. Um, it is very good. It's a Nintendo game. Then Nintendo did what they always do. But the game just started to suffer a bit for me just because of how repetitive it did get only a couple of hours in. But I gave it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Big Al.
So I gave Donkey Kong Bonanza an 8 out of 10. It's just I'm getting fed up with Nintendo doing the same gameplay loop of open world. Um, I don't wanna create my own fun. Like that's why I've still not even played Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that because having to like build stuff it's not fun for me. So it's just that aspect of like having to just break everything to get all the bananas that you need. It just got very, very tedious very quickly. So I just stopped collecting all of the bananas. Like I think like 4 or 5 worlds in, just because I was just going to the end, like just trying to find the end goal. But they'd make it so that you have to collect a lot of the bananas along the way just to like thingy. But like once you get like certain power ups, it makes it so much easier. But yeah, I'm just sick of that gameplay like aspects of like open world, like create your own fun. Other than that, the gameplay is fine. It's very, very repetitive though, and I think the game was a bit too long for my liking. But yeah, 8 out of 10.
Cool. I also gave it an 8 out of 10, so we got a nice average there.
I mean, that's nice.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's the average?
No, no,
8.
Yeah, I'm very much in agreement with you, Alex. The fact I like that they're using Donkey Kong. I like they're obviously giving him a big push and stuff like that. But by putting him in a game like this, like an Odyssey, like if you want, or even as like Breath of the Wild, like where like you say you're creating your own fun and it's just massive and you're not given a directions to go in. It feels like they're taking away from from previous games. In the
Yeah.
I want old Donkey Kong. I want them to continue the country series. It's really because that's really good. It's really like challenging. This isn't to me. It isn't Donkey Kong. But yeah, it is good. It's a good game. I'll describe it the same way I describe Breath of the Wild. It's a great game, but it's not a great Donkey Kong game. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like just like Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild isn't a great Zelda game. I would prefer it to. I want if they're going to keep releasing games like this, I want them to release country games as well. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So like getting into the actual like discussion of it, like I think this style of gameplay suited Mario Odyssey a lot better than it suits Donkey Kong. It suits Mario better because Mario, like from like Mario 64 and like Sunshine, this was already kind of the thing it was doing anyway. They just added more of it, whereas this is completely changing the gameplay of what Donkey Kong is altogether.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is, I
Well,
think Odyssey was better, a lot better.
but yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
changed the gameplay since like Donkey Kong 64. That was like the last 3D Donkey Kong
Donkey
Conky
Kong
Dong.
Donkey Kong game that we had. It's just that since Donkey Kong 64, we've only had 2D side scrollers for Donkey Kong, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was sort of a return to form, I guess, but obviously a more modern collectathon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, as you guys already said, I'm sort of just sick of this new formula that Nintendo has adopted. Of just making everything. I'm not saying the level design is bad. The level design is still really impressive, and from like a technical level, it's very good. I I think it takes away from really fun and innovative level design when the level becomes you can break all of it, but also it's just so big that you get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no specific points of the levels to remember or like, any parts of it that are memorable or that stick with you because it's just too big and it all sort of melds together, and you don't really appreciate any of the levels that you're actually in. Um, apart from like the couple of levels in the game that are very unique and very short, like the beach level or the Diddy Kong Racing level and just stuff like that. Um, it just sort of all meshes together, and I don't like that. And it's just it comes with the fact that it is more of a sandbox um, than like finely crafted levels, and that's just an issue for me because it makes the game not as fun as it should be, um, because I feel like a lot of the charm is lost, and a lot of the memories that I make with those sort of games, the connections I make with those sort of games, are lost when it's just an open world. That's sort of too big and overwhelming for me to deal with.
No, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I felt like anytime I was like playing the game, I was like, right, okay, I'm in this massive world, and I don't want to explore all of it because it all looks very, very similar, and I don't feel like nothing really stood out apart from like the Diddy Kong Racing level, but it wasn't really Diddy Kong. It was just a Rambi thingy because it. But yeah, like I couldn't tell you like if you show me like a screenshot from like one of the worlds, I couldn't tell you like the specific area of like which world that was. Um we also haven't talked about like the performance either. Like the game like lagged quite a lot
Yeah.
with especially like opening the map and stuff. Like the Switch couldn't even run it, which was quite worrying considering this is a Switch 2 launch type, not a launch type, very like
For a
early
Launch
Switch 2.
window.
for a
Yeah.
flagship Nintendo Switch 2 game, yeah, the performance was very disappointing. I don't expect a game that released on your new console to be lagging. Not to say it was detrimental to the game, it was just when it because it wasn't like it was a one-off. It would lag whenever you open the map, which I understand it's because of all the voxels and stuff and whatever and the destruction. But whenever you open the map, it would lag. But it was more during the actual gameplay itself. The more terrain you broke, the laggier the game would get, especially in big bursts of breaking stuff. Um, and for a game like that and on your brand new console, it just isn't a good look.
No.
Your game shouldn't be lagging. Your game shouldn't be struggling on this brand new system. A system, bear in mind as well, where they decided not to release Donkey Kong on the Switch One, which honestly I was quite impressed with that they did make it a Switch 2 exclusive. Um, but it shouldn't be lagging. The performance shouldn't be an issue on a brand new game like that on a brand new console, and it was a bit disappointing. It wasn't game ruining or anything, but it happened often enough where it was like noticeable. And it just sort of annoyed me whenever it happened because it just really shouldn't have been.
Wasn't it originally a Switch game?
It was originally being
I'll look
developed as a
forward
Switch
that when this
game.
ran on
Yeah.
Switch. Like,
Yeah, no chance.
it's like I say, I like the fact that they made the map, like they showed the map as like destructible and stuff, and it actually updated as to where he was. And I think I don't think there's any other way to do it really, because obviously the
Oh no, yeah.
landscape level like changes so much. But yeah, no, I also experienced that exact same kind of performance issues. Like generally in the gameplay, it was fine for me anyway, because I didn't destruct all that much, especially like past like the first third of the game, because I just wanted to kind of do the main golden path, so I didn't experience it that much. But yeah, it was definitely noticeable without a doubt.
It would, like I say, it's just this, like if you release a game on your brand new console, you should iron out any issues like that before it comes out. It's just a bit of a like I know Nintendo can get away with things because it's Nintendo and they can do what they want, but like I don't know, it's just not a good precedent for your games and your console going forward. And it worries me slightly for the future. It's one of those things where it's like if a first party, like a Nintendo published game, is lagging on this brand new system, it makes me go like, oh no. I like third party games, everything just gonna start to run like garbage just the years go on. Like it's just worrying. Um But yeah, don't think for a second that it's like constant or anything. It's just one of those things that is just sort of like annoying, I guess.
Yeah, we're being we are starting off very very negative here, but I guess you kind of got to start because everyone seeing this will have already seen reviews that are already out there, and I like for example I wasn't going to get this game yet. I was going to wait till later in the year, but then people started dropping 10 out of 10s and shit like that, so I rushed out and got it. I think the reason we're being so negative is because we expected it to be a 10 out of 10 game.
We had high expectations going in because of all the high reviews.
Issue for me. I would have waited until the end of like I'd say until the end of the year. I know Nintendo games never go on sale, but I would have waited personally for this game for a price decrease. I did get baited by the reviews. I was much like Oliver. I wasn't going to get it on release. I actually like settled on the idea that I was just going to leave it, which was difficult for me because I always like buying new stuff. I like buying new games, especially ones that are meant to be exciting. But I actually said to myself, no, I'll wait. But then when the reviews dropped, I couldn't help but pre-order it because I was expecting a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I was expecting truly like something truly revolutionary, and I think that adds to the reason, like Oliver was saying, as to why we sound so negative. Like you have to remember, we all gave it an 8 out of 10. But I was just expecting a lot more from it. And it was just it ended. It was a good game. No, sorry, it was more than a good game. It was a
great game.
Great game that I was expecting more from.
Yes.
And the issue is that it was a great game, but it just sits with all the other 8 out of 10 great games that I've ever played, and it doesn't stand out because of that. Like it was just a good time, and that's about it.
Yeah,
for me.
I replay Odyssey at least once a year. I'll probably never play this again. I'll probably never play Bananza again. And never. I think I like just to like delve into like the comparison between this and Odyssey. I think I've been thinking about it. I think the biggest change for me between the two is that like just if you're going looking for power moons in Mario Odyssey, you wouldn't find many that aren't fun. You know what I mean? There's always like a challenge or like some platforming to get to it. With Donkey Kong, like 90% of the time, it just seems very much smash until you find one.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, or just keep pressing R just to slam your thingy just to get the radar.
Exactly. As someone who got all the bananas, I didn't get the post game bananas. I got some of them, but I got all of the base game bananas. 60% of them, 70% of them are not fun.
Yeah.
They are simply just lodged in a wall or underground or like having to like climb like an obstacle like a building, so it's just like lodged at the top. It was very repetitive, and it didn't require any thought from me other than smash the radar button, and if I see a glow, go towards that direction. Which really is not a fun way to play the game because I'm not using, again, the level design and my own knowledge to like look for things or like try and figure things out. I'm simply just waiting for the big glowy button to tell me where things are. And it just becomes like a really mindless just waste of time, I guess, because it's not, like I said, there's nothing about a lot of the individual bananas that are memorable. It's just simply I'm going to turn my brain off and mash Y or X, whatever it is, to punch. And you just sort of lose track of what you're doing. And I think one of the issues with this game that I had, which Oliver just said a second ago, is the platforming in this game for me was basically non-existent.
Yeah.
I understand that it's a collectathon, but like collectathons and platformers usually go hand in hand. So I was expecting a lot more platforming. And I said this to Alex, I think to Oliver as well. Whenever the game did have platforming sections, I thought that's where the game really shined for me. That's where I had the most fun.
Yeah.
When it was individual parts of levels that actually focused on the idea of having to jump from platform to platform or navigate through like a mate or just something, where it felt like my actual gameplay mechanics and input mattered. And those few parts of the game I really, really enjoyed, and they were by far my favorite, but it barely happened. There was a couple of sections throughout the game where I was like, oh, this is a really good platforming section. And then it would completely fizzle out again. and then you'd go back to 85% of the map, if not 90% of the map, just being a flat surface with hills and buildings to punch through.
Yeah.
And that's basically all it was.
Yeah.
And the game was at its most fun for me, honestly, with the bonus levels.
Yep.
Because the
Yeah.
bonus levels a lot of the time tended to be platforming challenges. Admittedly, I think a lot of the game's design falls flat a bit because you don't have to play a lot of those bonus levels in the way they're meant to be played. When you have the power-ups especially, I'd say a solid 50-60% of those levels you can just fly over the entire thing usually with the ostrich bonanza.
Yep. It's given Donkey Kong is given way too many options in movement.
Yeah, like it ruins any thought and any skill in regards to the platforming and traversal because you can just simply fly over a lot of the levels.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to try, and I think that's a bit sad because I think it ruins the obviously the people who designed the levels and stuff. It ruins the levels that they made, but it also ruins the fun a bit. And you could argue, oh, you just don't have to, like, you could just not use the Bonanza power ups. But I'm not restricting myself from what the game gives me.
Yeah.
If the game gives me something, I'm going to use it. I shouldn't have to like hold myself back.
They should be turned off.
To,
Bonanza should be
yeah,
turned off in those things.
yeah, yeah, I shouldn't have to hold myself back in order to make the game fun. So that is a bit disappointing. But yeah, I think the game, if the game focused more on platforming, it was more of a platformer, I think I would have had more fun with it. But it obviously wasn't that. It was just a lot more open world.
Yeah,
bollocks.
I think even
Yeah.
without the Bonanza, the fact that he can climb anything makes platforming kind of
Yeah.
a joke as well. Like, he
Oh, yeah,
he can't
definitely.
climb everything. Obviously, there's some surfaces which is slippery, but
Yeah.
it's not it's not a platformer anymore. You know what I mean? It's just not a
No.
platformer.
Oh no, yeah. Going on from one of Lewis's points with the platforming, I noticed that like in the first level there was a lot of like hanging on like the ledges and stuff and like like going from underneath. But then as soon as you get your first Bonanza, it focuses more on the Bonanza power ups rather than like any platforming sections.
Yeah.
Which is why I think one of my favorite levels was the groove layer when you lose Pauline, is because you don't have to do any of the Bonanza stuff because you don't have Pauline with you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that one would focus more on like your platforming and stuff because you was like, right, okay, so I don't have Pauline with me, so then I've got to jump up here, then I've got to speak to this person. It felt more like a game that I actually wanted to play when I was on
Yeah.
that layer. Then as soon as I got Pauline back, then I was like, right, okay, it's just Bonanza time again.
It's Bonanza time.
I think it's fun and flashy, but it lacks a lot of substance.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
For me, it's missing the joy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't
well-
feel joy when I was playing it, and I expected
Well,
these kind of games.
it's a thing that people. There's this very specific tweet, and what I'm about to say might not make any sense. There was a tweet I saw recently, and it was people complaining. It was people making fun at Sonic games in that people say Sonic games are bad, and then other people say Sonic games are good. And they had a video of two different people playing Sonic Adventure 2, and on the left video, it was someone playing the game normally, as in like someone grinding on the rails how you're supposed to, going through the level how you're supposed to, like it is what it is. And on the right side, it was someone who's obviously put 400 hours in Sonic Adventure 2, and they're zooming and zipping and flying around everywhere and doing the most insane shit. And it's like these people on the right are the people who constantly talk about mechanics in games are what matters, and like what makes a game good is getting good at the mechanics, whereas the people on the left are the people who just play games to play a video game, but they don't enjoy it because they haven't mastered the mechanics, blah blah. And there was a big discussion on like whether or not a game should require you to master it to be good, because that was a lot of people's argument for the Sonic thing, is that Sonic games are only good when you put a ridiculous amount of hours into it and you can do insane shit. But to a normal person, you don't get any of that, so it's just not interesting. And I feel like Donkey Kong's kind of the same thing, where it's like those people who are going to be doing speedrun shit and flying around the map, because mechanically the game is very impressive, with a lot of the stuff that you can do. The people who are going to be flying around, flying up walls, flying through the air, dipping, diving, finding all the bananas in
Bananas.
5 minutes, and getting to places you shouldn't be able to get to using just like the different traversal mechanics. I'm sure the game's going to be great and really fun for those people. But for a standard person, they're not going to do a lot of that. And I just feel like the base game itself lacks a lot of substance. I feel like the game in general, for the general player, just lacks, outside of being like flashy and cool to look at, it just doesn't really offer anything. I don't think
Yeah.
the normal gameplay is that interesting. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's a weird one.
it is a weird one, but we seem to be in the minority with our opinions on
Yeah.
it.
For sure,
So,
no, we definitely are.
It is
Yeah.
weird that we all have like a very similar opinion though
yeah, well, it's just
with
it's
the
the same.
game.
It's just I don't understand why the reviewers aren't seeing it. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why they aren't seeing the same stuff as us. Maybe we're just cynical and terrible. But moving on to slightly happier subjects. Donkey Kong's redesign.
Oh yeah.
We're liking it now, aren't we?
I think I prefer it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I preferred it as soon as they showed it, to be honest. But yeah, I really like it. I think the old Donkey Kong model is really ugly.
It is.
And I don't understand why so many people are trying to defend it.
Yeah, no.
It's nostalgia. It's
It's
nostalgia. It's
gotta be,
nostalgia glasses.
But I saw like a really detailed Twitter post of people being like, people say the old Donkey Kong isn't expressive, and then they show a bunch of like faces from old games, and none of it's expressive. But they're trying to use it to defend the point that he used to be expressive, but he just wasn't.
He wasn't at all.
His model was really stiff and just not made to be expressive. It was never designed to be expressive, so there was a reason he lacked emotion whenever he was in anything. Because the model just didn't account for any of that. I think the new one works better in every single way. I genuinely don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Donkey Kong model was very much like obviously they perfected it in country, and then they never changed it beyond that. Like
No.
whereas like Mario and Zelda and that they'd change every game or look at least slightly different.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it looks good. I think it's my issue was why I didn't like it initially is because it looks a lot like the movie version, and I want to keep the movies and this game's separate massively.
Yeah.
And this game does do that. To be fair, it doesn't like try and pull in from any like Donkey Kong lore from the movie or anything. It's still very much based in the video game world, which is good.
Yeah. I think it was a worrying thing for a lot of people when it first got shown, because like you said, they didn't want it to just become. They don't want these things to be connected because it takes away from the actual game itself.
I don't want Seth Rogen's voice coming out of it.
No, yeah, exactly.
I'd imagine.
But I think I think a lot of people are coming around to it, and I think over the years people will just forget about old Donkey Kong and just not.
Oh,
care.
probably.
I think it's probably a big thing now because it's a big change.
Oh yeah.
So it's more of like a big deal and more impactful. But yeah, people will go over it. I think people, like I said, but like take away bias and anything. I genuinely just don't see how you couldn't enjoy the newer model more. It's just way more fun. And it has way more character to it. And it actually makes Donkey Kong feel like a character worthy of having his own game.
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to say. I think it was definitely the right thing to do because, like, kids buying Switch 2 now, you want to sell them this Donkey Kong game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have bought Tropical Freeze. Or if they played it, they probably wouldn't have enjoyed it because it'd be too difficult.
Yeah,
but they just completely recreate the character, and they've got this will be a game that I remember.
It was incredibly smart from Nintendo. Yeah, I think they did a really good job.
It was the right time to do it for sure. So Bonanzas. What was everyone's favorite Bonanza?
Elephant.
Yeah,
because it was the most overpowered.
Yeah, just suck up the train. It was really useful, especially in the last few boss fights as well.
Elephant Bonanza made the game from like an insufferable chore to just like less of an insufferable chore. I guess like it was by far the best power up and by far the one that did the most. Personally, I think most of the Bonanzas just aren't interesting.
No.
I think they're kind of boring. And I think a lot of them have like basically a non-existent use case. The flying one, if you're not going for like any side bananas or anything, if you're just mainlining the game, you really will not use the ostrich bonanza like at all. You'll use it like maybe once. The jumping, the snake bonanza,
The
again,
snake is useless.
you will use like one time and the level is given to you. The Kong bonanza is probably one of the most used ones because you use it on bosses generally.
Zebra.
Or to break the metal walls.
Yes.
What's the other two? Oh,
The
Zebra
zebra.
Bonanza was a very useless one for me. I did not
I
use
used it like
shit.
twice.
You always use it when you need to, don't you? It's
Yeah.
one of those things.
And then what was the other one? There's one more.
No, that's fine. You've done them all.
Didn't I just say 4? Did I say 5?
You've done them all.
Oh yeah, and the
Yeah,
elephant bonanza.
Yeah,
It's 'cause we
you
spoke
already
about-
talked about elephant.
Yeah, it's because we spoke about elephant first, and the elephant was worse. I just thought a lot of the power-ups were a bit boring, to be honest.
Yeah. They're very lackluster.
Yeah.
They're just
Again,
they're very
especially
nothing
compared to Odyssey, because Odyssey.
Well, compared to Odyssey, but also just due to the fact that a lot of the power-ups they didn't design much around them. Like you get the power-ups, but they don't design any of the levels around using them really. So you never really have to use them after that. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You get it as the gimmick for that level, and then you use it once because it tells you to, pretty much, and then
That's it.
every level after that isn't designed around it anymore. Yeah, so it's just not a thing.
Yeah. On
which
top
sucks with it.
on top of that as well, I didn't like the I'll call them RPG elements where you have to like level up your abilities and stuff like that. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like if you're playing a platform, you should really have the majority of your toolkit from the start rather than
Yeah,
upgrading your punch.
I did think the upgrade
strength
tree
and
was a
shit.
bit weird. Yeah, I didn't love it. I think Zelda did it okay, where it was just hearts and
Yeah.
stamina. Everything else was obviously just got throughout just playing the game normally or just the standard. But in Donkey Kong, yeah, I did not remotely enjoy.
Well, it feels almost as if they knew that getting bananas wasn't fun, so they had to give you
Yeah.
a
Right.
reason to do it.
Well, I don't like you. Well, like I said, I obviously got all the bananas as well in the main game, so I upgraded. Yeah, I couldn't upgrade it fully. There's like 2 you can't finish unless you get every banana.
Yeah.
But I got all of the power-ups for the most part, other than maxing out my. I didn't max out the containers. There are 2 different containers. Those
Oh,
are the
right,
2
okay.
I didn't do. And I got all the other power-ups. And honestly, the average player just isn't really missing out on anything.
No.
Again, just like the power-ups, I think the skill tree isn't particularly fun. I don't think a lot of the things that it gives you in the skill tree are just you can use this bonanza longer, or you have more health.
You
That's
can
about
punch
it.
harder.
Yeah, but
You can
punching harder
hold.
in that game is weird because it's like
It should have just been
I,
like you got a certain amount of bananas, and it was like, right, okay, now it is. It
I
shouldn't have
don't
been the case of like you have to spend it.
I don't
Yeah.
think the stat part necessarily is bad about. I feel like Oliver said, you should have just got stuff as you progress through the levels. Like the deeper down you got, it should have just naturally given you
Yeah.
more things. And if they were going to do a skill tree, I think they should have offered more in terms of what the skills can give you.
Yeah.
I think it was a very bloated way to do it and make the bananas feel more significant than they were. And I think maybe they knew that. Like Oliver said, I think they knew maybe that getting a lot of the bananas was a bit tedious. So they tried to compensate by making giving us a skill tree, but the skill tree in itself is also just kind of tedious because it's just not. There's nothing interesting on it.
Yeah, so anyone who's watching this video will have seen. So the footage that I used was it's yours, Lewis, from the it's one of the middle layers, Joe. You know where it's just the or it's just a little rock people, like the in between layers, and it'll just be watching you for the last half an hour just finding bananas and stuff like that. You don't.
No, that's what I mean.
You don't like having fun.
It was so dry. I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yeah, it was the grass one.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember being on that level for about 50 minutes, and after about 15 minutes, boy, I was bored. I was so bored. And it's just because I was going through a thing of getting all the bananas. And you could argue, Lewis, just don't get them. But it's a collectathon. I wanted to collect the banana. It's like the point of the game, isn't it? Like you collect the thing, but I don't think the collecting of the resources in your game is particularly fun.
No, there's just
which is
too. There's too many of them. There's too many of them. Like,
Yeah.
if you think of good collectathons, you think of Spyro, and you think of Banjo Kazooie, kind of. Yeah, so like there's just there's not an absolute shit ton of them. There he is, oh Banjo.
Banjo.
There's not an absolute shit ton of them. Like, and
No, there's 100 jiggies.
like the 100 jiggies, and there's always like it's like in Spyro when you're like collecting orbs and stuff like that. There's always a thing to do to get that orb, which feels significant. And
Yeah,
this,
it's the thing as well. It's like in Spyro, like for example, it's not like there isn't a lot of eggs to collect, but the levels only have a small amount of eggs in each one.
Yeah, so
So
you're not in each world for like an hour. You're in
yeah,
there for like
yeah,
20 minutes
exactly.
max.
It makes it fun collecting stuff in each level because it's a short, contained experience in one level, whereas DK is a massive fucking experience and it takes 5 hours to collect everything in the one level. And by the time you can leave, you're like, I don't want to play this anymore.
no.
Like I'm on like what, the third layer, and I've already collected like 200 bananas. And it's just like I don't want to collect these anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm a bit done with it now. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, 200 bananas would have been the entire game. That would have been
I'm
every
pretty sure it
banana.
was for DK64. Was
Yeah.
it not 201 bananas?
Not
I
played
think
it.
so.
Well, obviously they had like loads of other stuff to collect.
But that's what I mean. People can argue that I ruined the game for myself. And
But
I could have,
when the
and
game
I
tells
could
you
have
to
just,
collect everything.
yeah, and I could have just not done that. But like my argument is just piss off. It's a collectathon. I thought collecting the bananas would be fun.
I
but-
can go back to Odyssey now and still get mutants that I didn't get before and still have fun doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not that. It's not necessarily that like the amount of them like that is a factor and stuff like that. It's just how you go about getting them. I'm now realizing this does not sound like an 8 out of 10 review that we're giving here. We are focusing on negatives, but I think all the positives are so obvious. You know what I mean? It's just
Yes.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
It's Nintendo.
yeah,
They
like-
know how to make a game.
Yeah, the main review, the main aspect of this review comes from the fact of talking about those negatives, because like Oliver just said, everyone listening knows what's good about the game.
Everyone knows that they like what they're going in for with this game, because everyone said like, yeah, it's amazing, it's 10 out of 10, but
Yeah.
I'd rather just focus on the things that people aren't talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the things that the reviewers said that were 10 out of 10 are true. You know what I mean? So like, the levels look great. A lot of the time it is fun. It's just when you're going out searching for bananas where it gets shit. Like, especially towards the end of the game, like I really had I had a lot of fun. I started to struggle around the Tempest layer. That started to annoy me, but then once I got past that, I started to have fun again. But yeah, especially like I said, that last level was really, really good.
Are we talking about? Are we doing?
We don't
spoilers?
have to spoil it now. We just someone was in the game that we didn't know was in the game, and it was
very good.
It was a big moment. I just wish they'd utilised that character a little bit earlier. I don't think there was any
it
reason
felt
to not include them in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. It felt like it was a bit shoehorned in at the end, but it was just for like
Yeah, it was definitely the plan.
service.
Yeah, it was definitely, that's the thing. Yeah, it definitely was the plan from the start, because they wanted. It was obvious. Realistically, if you were thinking about it, it was obvious they were gonna be in it. They used it definitely more as shock value. Like they could have just had him as the main villain.
Yeah.
It's the Twilight Princess does is what they did. They
they
tried to introduce like a new cool villain and stuff, and then right at the end,
literally, it's the exact same as Ganon.
They refuse, like they just refuse to let that villain stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah,
and then they just throw in the old classics.
Well, it's like my issue with it though. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because like I fall for it every time. Like I always like that kind of thing, but it belittles the other villain of your game and makes them basically worthless.
We know we're never gonna see those fucking monkeys again. You know,
No.
they're never coming back.
Like Void is just gone. Like
he's
just,
dead.
he's
He's
just,
in the void.
Yeah, and I think it really belittles the villain of your game, which I think is a bit silly because it was the villain of your game. And it makes you just go like, why didn't you just have K. Rool at the start?
No,
now.
Spoiled it. They are spoilers.
I just feel like we've given enough context.
We gave enough warning.
That final boss was actually really good, but it just didn't run very well. That was like literally the main negative.
I don't think I had any issues with it running badly.
Anytime you did like a big attack, it just like jutted and didn't thingy. But I died like a few times because I didn't upgrade my health.
Yeah. But I don't understand. When I said at the end, I said, "Oh, the Banandian root has a nipple on it."
Yeah,
I don't understand. How
I saw that come through, and I just laughed.
I was like, I don't understand how I didn't know because I played K. Rool a lot in Smash Bros. So I should have really recognized that for what it was.
I just didn't look at it. So like I just didn't. I was like, all right, that's the root. I was like, all right, okay, I'm not gonna
took
think
one
it.
look
And
at
then
that,
he
I
just
thought
appeared out of nowhere.
I thought that's fucking weird. That's a weird. What else now I was expecting when I thought of a root. Yeah, but I'm glad he was in it. I really, because I was sad when he wasn't originally.
It made me laugh because I beat it first, and then I think you just said, "God, I wish K. Rool was in it," and I was like, "Yeah, that's crazy."
K. Rool's the best one. He is.
No, he is. But it's weird that he didn't really get a redesign either.
No,
You would have thought that he would have got a bit of a redesign, but
I think K. Rool as always, even on Country, looks wacky enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a proper. He's a fun looking guy. I really like him.
I think it was okay to not change anyone else.
Yeah.
Especially since I don't know what they're doing with the series moving forward. They might just scrap. That might have been like K. Rool's like last hurrah.
No, let's hope not.
Never.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with it either. I'm hoping the move forward, like I say, have Country and have your main series if you want. That's completely fine as long as you don't completely get rid of Country. It's the exact same thing I say about Zelda. As long as they keep pumping out the 2D ones with actual like dungeons and stuff in them, I'm happy. That's fine because then you're not completely just fucking over the people who like loved it for what it was while you're doing your redesigns and shit like that. But Mario could have stayed as it is because they cracked the formula perfectly.
Yeah.
Plus they released Mario Wonder as well.
There you go.
But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, should we call it there, fellas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More to say. So let's just
really.
to recap. We gave it a nice round 8 out of 10. And thank you for watching. We shall see you later.
Bye.